Hello everyone. In this Forge 1.20.1 video, we're going to be going over how to add recipes to Botania using the KubeJS mod along with its add-on mod KubeJS Botania. But before we get started, I would like to give a shout out to my server hosting partner, BisectHosting. This is a great service I've used for quite a while now, even before I was affiliated. They offer server hosting for over 70 games, and you can also pre-install many mod packs automatically. So for the games here, as you can see, even if you don't play Minecraft, there's plenty of options, and a lot of the big popular games of this age are here, as well as Minecraft mod packs. So basically, any mod pack you can think of, really, that has some level of popularity is here. So as you can see, all the mods, all the fabric, uh, other things like that. Better Minecraft. You also get 24/7, 365 customer support that helps troubleshoot your server. I could definitely attest to this because they've been very helpful in helping me with my own personal servers that I have for me and my friends. Whether it's plugins, config, whitelist, things like that, very helpful and friendly. And they also respond very promptly as well. You also get full file access, so you can easily just drag your plugins in. You can edit your config files easily, things like that. You can also host your server across from any of the 20 locations across the globe, and it offers advanced protection. But again, great service. I highly recommend you check out my affiliate link in the description below to go to this website as plenty of great information that will be able to help you. But now let's start with the code. So we're going to just go through one thing at a time here. In general, these are all server events, so they all go in a file in, first of all, the server events.recipes method, but the file, it's the JavaScript file itself, goes into the server scripts. So very important. If you have incline or startup, it's not going to work. But starting here, we're going to talk about the mana pool. So this is covered in the event.recipes.botania.mana infusion method. You pass in an output, an input, the amount of mana, and the block under, which the latter is an optional argument. Parameter 1 is the output, which is an item in the form of string. Parameter 2 is the input in the form of an item with the string as a string. The third parameter is amount of mana as an integer. And then an optional argument here is the block under. So in the base Botania game, you'll see those catalysts that add recipes that you normally wouldn't be able to get without them. So we have two examples here. We have one without and one with the fourth parameter. So first one here is we're crafting a blaze rod with prism rune shard using 500 mana. And then the second one is you're crafting a golden carrot with a carrot, but there's a gold block underneath. And that I may require more mana for this example. So let's get started with showing this in game. So I'm in game here. Before you test things out, always reload your script. So since we're doing server scripts, it's QJS reload server scripts. And once you're done, you can do /reload. And it'll take a second. And then once you see the green affirmative message reloaded with no KubeJS errors, you know you're good. So let's take a look at, let's start with Blaze Rod. As you can see here, the prismarine shard gives you a blaze rod. And let's also do the golden carrot one. So golden carrot, you need the block of gold underneath. You throw in a carrot, and then you get the golden carrot back. Okay, so let us go back to the code for our next example, which is on Elven trade. So Elven trade's a bit different. It takes in an output array or an input array, but really these don't even have to be arrays. They can just be singular strings. So up to you, depends on what you need really. So parameter 1 is our output array or just our output. So output items or just an item as a string or an array of strings. Parameter 2 is the input or input array. This is in the form of a string or an array of strings, just like the output. And that's all here. So for our examples, we have a glowberries giving you echo shard. And then we have, because again, with this example, note you can use the close brackets just for one string, because that's still an array. It just has one string in it. But our second example is 2 inputs, 2 outputs. So an ender pearl and chorus fruit. In that array, note the close brackets. Gives you a netherite ingot and a pufferfish. Again, note the brackets. So let us go back in game and test this out. Okay. I'm not going to constantly reload because it was all the same file. We didn't change anything. So let us start with the echo shard. As you can see here, glowberries give you the echo shard. And then our netherite recipe and pufferfish recipe. So chorus fruit and ender pearl gives you a netherite ingot and pufferfish. Okay, so let us go back in game or into the code rather, for our next example, which is the pure daisy. So the pure daisy takes 2 necessary parameters and 1 optional one, which namely output, input, and time. Our first parameter is the output as a block, because remember the pure daisy is a block crafting utility, but nonetheless it's in form of a string. Same thing with the input, it's a block, and that's our string. That's the second parameter. And our third parameter, which is optional, is the number of ticks as an integer. Remember, 20 ticks is equal to 1 second. And again, you don't need a parameter 3. If you don't put in it, it will default to what it is for most Botania crafting recipes. So our 2 examples here, we're crafting a honey block into deep slate and a moss block into smooth quartz with our time for the second one. So let us go back in game again, and we're going to test this out. So our first example is a deep slate. Deep slate. Honey block transforms to deep slate. And then finally, smooth quartz. Moss block turns into smooth quartz. All right, so let us go back in game. Well, back in the code to our next example. So the next thing we're going to talk about here is the petal apothecary. This takes 2 necessary parameters along with a third optional one, namely, in total, it's the input. It's the output, then the input array, along with a reagent. First parameter is the output as an item in a string. Our second parameter is an input array of items, so a string array. And our third optional parameter is the reagent in the form of an item or a string. If you don't specify this, seeds is the default, as it is in most, if not all, petal apothecary recipes. So, two examples here. Our first one does not specify the reagent, so it's going to turn out to be seeds. Crafting a golden apple from a shulker shell and a trident. And then our second example specifies the reagent. So we're going to craft an amethyst shard from a name tag, spyglass, and fletching table. And our reagent is going to be the dragon breath. So let us test this out in game. Let's go away from this guy a little bit. So our first, remember, our first example was an enchanted golden apple. There it is. The trident and the shulker shell is crafted into enchanted golden apple using the seeds. And then our second example is the amethyst shard, crafting from a name tag, fletching table, and spyglass with our specified reagent as dragon breath. So let us go back. Let's go way over here. So let's go back in the code. And to go to our next example, which is on the runic altar. So the runic altar takes an output, an input array, and mana. And you need all three of these. So your output is an item in the form of a string. Your second parameter. Your second parameter is the input array in the form of items. And then the third parameter is the mana as an integer. So for example, we're crafting an experience bottle or a bottle of enchanting with a goat horn, sniffer egg, and using 5,000 mana. So let us go in game. And let's take a look. So we're going to search up ball of enchanting. As you can see here, the goat horn and the sniffer egg get you the bottle of enchanting. So let's go back into the code once again. Take a look at the terra plate. In other words, the mechanic to get terra still in normal Botania. But you can add recipes to this. It's actually the same exact type of structure as the runic altar, but we're using output, input array, and mana. Again, as a refresher, the output is in the form of an item as a string. The input array is in the form of items as a string array. And the mana is in the form of an integer. So for this example, we're crafting a disk fragment from a tadpole bucket and a globe banner pattern with a lot of mana. So let us go in game and test it out. Search up disk fragment 5. So as you can see, bucket of tadpole, globe, banner pattern gets you the disk, music disk. So let's go back in game and we're going to cover our last thing here, which is the orchid and the orechid ignem, which they're structured the same, so I put them together for this. But we're gonna have 4 examples to show the weights. Both of these methods require an output, input, and weight as its parameters. the output is in the form of a block, because again, this is block crafting. Nonetheless, it's in a string. Second parameter is an input in the form of a block as a string. And the parameter 3 are the weights, which is specified in integer. So I have 4 examples here. It'd probably be better to split them here. For our orchid, we're going to have 2 possible things you can get from warped planks. So you can either get a crafting table or a chiseled stone bricks. The chiseled stone bricks has a weight of 3, and the crafting table has a weight of 1. So the higher weight, it means the higher chance. So 3 out of 4, you're going to get a 75% chance of getting chiseled stone bricks. And then you're going to have a 25% of getting chance of getting crafting table. Similar thing with the orchid ignem. Calcite, for this example, calcite, you either get reinforced deep slate or deep slate cool ore. Deep slate cool ore has a higher chance of getting it. So 2 out of 3 is 66.6%. And then reinforced deep slate is a weight of 1, which is a 33% chance. 0.3% chance. Obviously, there's only 2 examples here, but you could really apply this to your mod pack by adding a bunch of different options, maybe different stone types. So let's go back in game here for our final demonstration. Let's start with the warp planks. As you can see, you get it specifies this, and it'll say about 1 out of 4 or 3 out of 4. So warp planks get you either chisel stone bricks at 75% chance or 3 out of 4, or a crafting table with 25% chance or 1 out of 4. And then the second example here, using calcite or orchid ignem, will give you a 66.7% chance to get the deep slate cool ore, and then the reinforced deep slate with a 33% chance. As you can see, I put the reinforced deep slate 1 first, even though it had less of a chance. But it will order them in JAI here with the most likely first, and then it will go down. So I hope that this video was informative. Please comment if you have any questions, and I would be happy to make a follow-up video on this. Otherwise, I appreciate your time watching this video, and have a great day.